This one's a tough one to introduce because it is the mecca why we're here. I've had the pleasure of working with Callie for a certain time now, and I must admit I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I learn stuff every day from this. This is a new field. So without further ado, I suppose this is why we're all here tonight. This is you guys. This lady needs no introduction. I will give her one anyway. I'd like to welcome Callie to the stage, please. Intro. Thank you very much.
After that introduction, thank you very much. All right, so essentially, let's see who's wrong. Is there anybody here who doesn't know me before tonight?
Excuse me. The door's that way now.
For you guys that didn't know me before tonight, do me a favour, get on Facebook and sign up now to Amazon Sellers Australia. There's going to be a few questions for you to answer, and because I'm not the only admin there, I want you to answer to one of those questions. Callie told me to sign up, so that they actually do accept you. We kind of block about 20 people a day. Sorry?
What's the name? Amazon Sellers?
Amazon Sellers Australia, USA and Global. That's the long name. So, yeah, there it is. So I'm admin of that page. It's got about 6,500 members. It's an amazing resource. It's not always the best resource, but absolutely there's a lot of peer information there. If you ever do come up against something and you want a real answer to something from me, just tag me in that group and I'll be sure to answer. Okay. So I went into that group and I asked one question about a week ago, and the reason that I asked it was because I knew that I was going to come here and I've got about 10 to 15 minutes, and that's as much as I can talk before you guys start asking the questions. So I wanted to quickly put something together as to what people are finding hard when it comes to Amazon. Some of you have been thinking about it for a while, some of you have started out but you're still struggling with certain things. So I pretty much just asked that question. I would love to start selling on Amazon, but complete the sentence. And overwhelmingly, if I learn how to talk to, overwhelmingly, everybody stated confusion. Whatever that was, whatever that answer was, it was some sort of confusion when it comes to selling on Amazon. And a lot of it has to do with what the ladies spoke to you about today, but a lot of it is when it comes to actually just starting out and whether or not I should start out or should I think about it for the next 6 months, right? So some of the answers that I got, but I'm finding it hard to do the research on the products and understand the data. But I could not figure out how to list an item. So even the actual, if you go into eBay and you decide you want to sell your car today, I bet you that 99% of you can do it. When you go into Seller Central on Amazon, it's not. Thank you, Flor. But I'm still trying to get my account set up and doctor verified. 38 days and counting was one of the answers, and that was somebody who was trying to get verified, get their account verified, and even the first thing that happens is that your account gets suspended until you're actually verified as an individual who's selling on Amazon. So, did I miss a page? Yeah, the next one was, but I can't decide if to start in Australia or the USA. So a lot of people only got excited because they saw that Amazon came to Australia and they decided to go and sell there, and then they're hearing a lot of conflicting things. They're not making any sales, etc. But I don't know what essentials I should have in place first. So people are asking me, do I need an ABN? What common mistakes people make and how to avoid them. I've had people taking electrical products onto the marketplace. One big one was a children's night lamp that plugged into USA PowerPoint kind of thing. And the minute it got on into FBA, the whole account was suspended. So, and there's good reason for that. Somebody wanted children to be safe. somebody was being really, really funny and said, but that first step is one hell of a lulu. And that one I can relate to. And it took me probably about 1.5 years to send my first little box to Amazon FBA, because there was a lot of things that I couldn't understand at the time. So yeah, I'm with you. So let me tackle those. I'm finding it hard to research products and understand the data. I don't know what I'm saying there, but I'll try and explain that to the best of my experience. Essentially, people are seeing Helium-10, my personal preference, Jungle Scout software, a whole load of software that's supposed to help you to get as much data as possible from Amazon, so that you can use that data to understand whether a product is competitive, understand whether that product, even if it's not competitive, how to market it, what keywords to use, whether or not it's even viable from the point of view of price, etc., etc. A lot of people do succeed in this business, and it's because of that data. But until you get to a point where you understand what that data means, and that most of it is pretty much just estimates of what Amazon would be able to feed us, then really all you're looking at is just numbers. So what do I say, Flor? May I ask? What's the best way to start with a product? I'm asking, what am I? She's a teacher's pet. So, what is the best way to start? How did you start?
You just have to do it.
That's essentially it. You've got to test a product. You've got to send a small piece of something. You've got to send 10, 20, 30. Send them in. Start understanding and analysing your own data. Look at what the back end of Seller Central is saying about your product. Are you converting the way that you should be converting? And if you don't understand what conversions are, then that's the way to learn it. After you've spent a couple of $100, not after you've spent 20 or 30 or 50,000, or bought something electrical and then found out that you can't do anything with it, right? So, yeah, something about brands. Yep, anybody that knows me will tell you that I'm a big believer in brands. As soon as you can feasibly do it, get your own trademark. Before you do that, make sure that you're not infringing on anybody else's trademark.
How can you verify that?
There's a lot of ways. So it's actually ask that question later. Yeah,
Really
can some put it in your phone and ask me that, because I want to really expand. All right, so some of this is missing. Somebody took my slides before I finished them. That's good, because that'll keep me short. But essentially, they couldn't even understand how to list, and there's good reason for that. It is hard. It is harder than any other platform to list. So essentially, what you've got to do is have a product to list, go in there, start doing it, make mistakes, call up Seller Central, get into one of the groups, ask your questions, find out how to list. Once you've done it once, you're good to go as many times as you want. The account setup, the verification bit. One of the first things that happens, the minute that you create your account, Amazon's going to send you an email and tell you, I want your driver's license, your passport, your bank account statement, your credit card statement, utility bill, a couple of documents, not always the same ones. It does depend on how whether you're a company, single member company, what kind of company you're signing up as, or whether you're signing up as an individual, etc. First thing that happens is you get asked for a couple of documents, and then you've got to upload those documents in a certain way. Don't do it in that certain way, and you're going to get suspended again. Go into the group, do a search for ID verification. You'll see the amount of people that have gone through this, and you'll also see the solutions to the problem, and just one by one how to upload those documents. Yeah, I can't decide whether to go with Australia or the USA. Again, I haven't got a clue what I'm saying there. Yes?
Are you okay? Because
Or UK?
Yeah.
No, you wouldn't start in the UK.
No?
If you're a fresh new seller,
Yeah.
ask me that question later, but you
Alright.
do not start in the UK.
Thank you.
Okay. No, Australia or the USA is the biggest question, and those are the two easiest markets to tackle. That said, how many of you got an e-commerce business before Amazon and aside from Amazon? Okay. For you people, it is worth starting in Australia, and the reason that it's worth it is because you're probably already on eBay, Catch, Etsy, whatever the other platform you're already on, right? And what that's going to do for you, it's going to make sure that you're across all platforms in the one country. For everybody else, not so much. One product is usually what we recommend starting with. You don't want to go with one product to a marketplace that is fresh, new, that usually one product will sell, I don't know, as many times as one a day if you've got a good product, as many times as one a week if it's not so thought out, as many times as one every 6 months if it's something that, So you really want to go on a platform where you're going to be selling that one product. To sell that one product, where better than in the country where there's 250 million people with access to some sort of a Prime account, ready and willing to press that buy button with one click checkout and just don't buy that. If I tell you today, go out there tomorrow, find a product, buy 10 pieces of it, put a label on it and send it out. And don't worry if you're going to make a mistake, so long as you don't make one of those really important ones. And don't send anything that's got a plug in it. And don't send anything that's a baby cot, right? So find something small, find something that's safe and make that first step. How many of you will do that tomorrow? Please do. And I think that's about it. What's the best way to start selling on Amazon? Just do it. Find a safe product, buy a small quantity, send it to FBA, etc., etc. Ask lots of questions in the group. Thank you.
Very much. We're also interested. Jermaine, I'm going to start with you. What is the most important thing to understand when it comes to product safety?
So one of the most important things is really, and I touched on it in the talk, is understand that different markets have different requirements. Understand that US requirements are different to Australia, different to Europe, different to wherever it may be, and just to do the research. So having that understanding, meaning that, if you're working with manufacturers, you're working with suppliers, and they offer you certificates, that you understand that, that one certificate may not cover all the markets. And just to have that knowledge, will give you that confidence when you're dealing with them as well, just to do your research.
I think we spoke, there's so many different markets out there. It's trying to understand and direct your way into that market. So yeah, absolutely. It's probably something that really
Make sure that you've got the right standards for the same market.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And the ACCC website as well has so much information that covers all the Australian standards, and that there might be something for the US as well. So there's a lot of information ready there available for you.
Fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. It's a key bit. Kelly, I know we're going to have some sharp questions at you after this. It's a good thing. Afraid I'll go quite interesting one. We spoke a lot about the FX element tonight, I suppose, of what we do. Give me an example or show me a hurdle that your e-com starter, sounds things we've got some advanced or middle starters, and what's a hurdle that somebody's going to come up against?
Someone who's just starting out?
Yeah, let's go for some of these.
The hurdle is this side of things, but you do think that making a payment can be hard, or the conversion, you think you might be losing a lot on foreign exchange, but you do need to make the payment, and it's actually really easy. So if you do find a product, of course you need to get your samples. Once you've paid for your sample, which I can help you do, really cost-effective method, you just send the Australian dollars from your account into our accounts, and off the money goes, and it will arrive. That's pretty much the easiest thing in comparison to what you guys have to do as starters. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, that's cool. Kelly, go. I suppose a little bit want to talk about listing. We've spoken a little bit about how to get up there. What's the most important aspect you think around listing a product, putting it out there?
There's a couple. So, most important bit is to get the customer into your product, to actually see it. And that would depend on your keywords. So that's data driven. That's what we said that Helium 10 and Jungle Scout, etc. help you with. The way that they help you is they tell you how many searches per month there are on each keyword and whether or not that is a competitive product or viable or whatever. Second thing is to actually sell it, and that's where conversion comes in. Because yes, you pulled the customer in, they've seen you in a search. Now there's two things that you've got to do. One is to get them to click on your product and open up the actual product page, and then the next thing is to press the buy button and get to the point where they've actually bought your product. Both of those, you'd be surprised how little people actually read in the listing. Both of those primarily predicated on whether or not your images are up to scratch. And that's where this kind man comes in, and he's come in today. Ben is the owner of Creative Content. He actually creates images, and whether it's for the listing itself or for EBC content. If you don't know what that is, don't worry about it yet. It's got to do with when you're brand registered, you've got extra bits on your listing. And those images are the ones that, the main image is the one that's going to get somebody to click into the listing itself, and the other listings are going to make somebody actually buy the product. Can I put you on the spot? Sure. Do you want to say something about images? What's important about the images?
As Carly was saying, the primary image is important to have something that's nice and clear. As I understand, Amazon requires that you have an image that's fully etched on a white background. So the style is often similar between all products, but making sure you have a nice, clean, clear image that shows your product off is really important. From there, once you go in and have the other images that you can click on, that's where you start telling your story about the features and benefits of your product and why somebody should buy it.
And that's where you use graphics as well as any kind of lifestyle shots, etc.
Okay, I'm going to open it up to the floor. You can put your hand up if you have a question. Just say your name. Go, good. First little pick already. We'll go ladies first, and we'll move to the gentleman in the back.
If I do, is it something that I link to my personal bank account, or do I have to sort of get
Are you referring to
like a? Oh yes, sorry. What was it? Well, first.
Blacklist.
Well, first.
Yeah, so
Yes.
you want an effects account is essentially, yeah.
Yeah. So these accounts that we give you, so with World First account, it's actually a US dollar account in the US. It's separate to your personal account in Australia. But that US dollar account you plug into your Amazon Seller Central, which is in the US. So Amazon US will pay US dollars into this US dollar account in the US with Citibank. And once it's held there, you can then utilize those US dollars to either pay your suppliers in US dollars or in whichever currency your supplier requires, or you can bring the funds back into your Australian dollar account as and when you need to. And that's where it goes into your personal account or your business account, depending on what ABN.
So it could be either. That was my question. I didn't know whether I had to have a business account.
No.
Oh no, it just depends on what your entity is, which is very important when you sign up with Amazon as well. For example, if I want to sign up an ABN as a sole trader, I'll just go onto ABR. I can get an ABN as a sole trader right now, free to care. I sign up for Amazon, great. My bank account needs to be in the name of Free to Care. My ID, my proof of address, whatever needs to be in the name of Free to Care. But if I then decide to change to Freddie is Best Pty Ltd, that bank account it needs to change. I need to then update my entity. Correct me if I have said anything.
You're absolutely
Yeah.
right, yeah.
So it's actually really important to decide what entity and what business structure you want to.
You can absolutely later change.
Yes.
If you start as an individual, you can absolutely change to a company. I wouldn't suggest that anybody jumps into one or the other without talking to their personal accountant. And it's not because of anything Amazon related, it's more about what assets and liabilities you guys have. And I don't want to give any accounting advice today, so I'll stop it there.
Yeah. So to answer your question, whichever entity you sign up with, we can give you an account in your name, or your business name, or your business as trading as, or business as trading as trustee for blah blah blah
Company
blah.
name, etc.
Yeah. So whatever the entity is, we'll give you an account in that name. And to answer your question with Board First, you know exactly what you're getting charged. You know exactly what margin and what fee we charge every single time, and whether we change that margin. If you've gone into another bucket, you can get 0.25%.
So my one was just about IP protection. So our product, we're doing it under the Registry protocol for global, and then we've also covered the USA. But then I also read something about Amazon brand registry as well. So can you just give me a brief rundown as to how that sort of differs, and whether or not just having your trademark registered in the USA protocol, if that's enough to cover your rights there? Well,
So the only place that you're trademarking is in the USA, you're trademarking in Australia as well?
We've got trademarked here in Australia as well, and going to Korea and China.
So for anybody who doesn't know what she's talking about, her brand name, she's doing the right thing, and she's trademarking it across 4 different countries, and that's so that she knows that her brand name is going to be protected in all of those countries. So that's the legal aspect of it. If you've got one trademark, regardless of which one that is, that will allow you to have brand registry across the board in all marketplaces on Amazon. It's not as simple as what I just said, so you do need to get brand registry in the country that you've got a trademark. And what's going to happen with you is you're going to get each one of those trademarks at a different time frame, because some of them are going to take like 5 months and some so it's going to happen incrementally for you. Essentially, if you get your Australian trademark before all others, what you can do is go to amazon.com.au, the Australian platform, and apply there for what's called brand registry. But I do have some good news for you if you tell me that you don't yet have any Amazon accounts.
I don't.
You don't? Okay. There's something called brand registry whitelisting. And why that is important is because you can get all the positive things that brand registry will give you, which is essentially protection of your ASINs across the board. It will also allow you to get what used to be called up to very, very recently EBC, enhanced brand content. Today it's called A+ content, which is essentially a website within the website, a website within Amazon. It allows you for additional content, more images, and at the same time a storefront. So all of that wonderful stuff and a lot more. I mean, I'm not going to get into all those amazing things, but essentially you can have those whitelisted based on the fact that you have applied for a trademark in the country that you're applying for that brand registry, so long as you go through an account manager. There's a couple of ways to get an account manager. The easiest way is for me to shoot an email to either Amazon Global or to Amazon Australia, or even to both. Okay. So after this is over, in the next couple of days, shoot me an email, give me a call, remind me what we're doing, and I'll shoot those couple of emails for you, and you can get started with an account manager and hopefully brand registry as well.
So just a quick follow-up, that storefront listing that's whitelisted, do you know if that also integrates with Instagram?
No. This is a storefront on Amazon.
Oh,
It's essentially, it looks like a website, but it's within Amazon.
So is it like Shopify?
No. It looks like a website, but it is on Amazon.
Wow.
So it's within amazon.com or amazon.com.au.
So it won't come up under a Google search if you were to search
It absolutely will.
It will.
It absolutely will. And what content you put in there, again, going back to the SEO and the images, etc., that a professional can, all of that stuff does actually show up.
Okay.
You got the best seat there, Matt.
I know.
How did you pay?
Okay. Anyone else in the back? A couple of hands up. What do you saw?
This question is for Jermaine. So if our product, it's a product which is new to market, it's got patent, IP protection, brand registry, trademarks, everything is secured. Do we still need to get a certification before it goes live on
All
Amazon?
that you
Or
mentioned.
can we do it at the same time that we launch it?
Oh, yeah, you can absolutely do it at the same time. That's no problem. You can do it at any stage.
At any
But
stage.
all the that you mentioned, trademarks, that's absolutely got nothing to do with product certification and testing.
Okay.
It's completely separate. So you can do it at the same time. It won't impact.
Okay.
It won't matter.
So does that also apply for product liability insurance? Do we have to secure it before the launch, or can it be done once it's live?
I'm not familiar with liability insurance. But that's for Callie question.
Okay.
Just actually, did you want to answer that now?
Yeah, I'm happy to. So essentially, with insurance, you've got to have a product that you're selling before you've got insurance, but at the same time, you want to start prepping and finding out what your costs are. So start getting quotes.
And the testing. So you may not know, like I don't know what your product is, but depending on the product, whether it needs testing or not. So just don't think, not every product needs to be certified or needs to be tested by any means. It just depends on the product.
If it's a woman's apron, don't worry about it. But
No.
if it's anything children's related, anything electrical, and even if you're not absolutely sure, just pick up the phone.
Question. Okay.
But that's the whole beauty of it. That's why we love it so much, because we have nothing to do with the customer.
So you have
Hey, I've been in e-commerce for a long time. You just see some of the silly things that I give me.
I think we've got time for one more question. We're going to take it inside as well, so guys will still be around if you want to ask a question.
Absolutely.
For any of those detailed ones, we'll take it offline. And then I want to just ask the guys one last question before we go. So I'm going to go to this lady, she's in her hand. You still want to ask a question? Yeah?
Yeah.
Far away, go for it.
Just like the one that they asked it before. Why shouldn't I start my business in UK?
Ah, yes, yes. We had a question in between. More complicated than what it is in the USA. So essentially,
I try opening my bank account, my Amazon account
and
there.
they're asking you now for VAT.
Oh my god, yeah, it was so, they paid for me, like look for a account and
Okay. So essentially what you're putting yourself up against is admin costs. You need to have an accountant. You need to prepay VAT costs as an international seller into the UK. You also need to ask the question whether or not you need to be paying VAT in any other EU countries, depending on whether or not somebody from Germany, for instance, buys a product in the UK. The VAT percentage is different in each EU country, and at the same time you've got to figure out what the best way to sign up is in the first place, because one way will be better for you in such a circumstance than the other way better for you. Now, the cost of admin, accounting, upfront VAT charges, and just the pure headache for a country that's got about 1/20th or so the amount of Prime members, I would go to the USA any day, even though they are a more competitive market, and even though I've got to smash my head a little bit more
just because
to find a less competitive product. Yes, absolutely. I would go there any time. But UK is good, second, third country. So once you've established yourself in the USA,
maybe I can try later.
absolutely. It's a big market, it's a great market. The whole EU is amazing. Just make sure that you've got enough funds to pay for your accountants. Put your money in there.
One last question, this lady in the back, sorry, excuse me. One last one.
They almost insist, no that's probably not true, but they highly recommend that you source products from China, from Alibaba.
Yeah.
They do. Even the new one this year.
Even the new one this year.
As far as I can remember. I've only gone through it. It's only just come out.
Look, it's easier.
Okay.
It's absolutely easy.
However,
but,
if you listen to someone like one of your colleagues in Melbourne and Tim Jordan, who say that...
Go to India.
Correct. So I'm on Megla's thing and all of that. I didn't go I didn't go on the trip. But it's almost impossible to find a good quantity of supplies. That thing that she's got, the India Mart, is very limited. And depending on what you're looking at producing, and also then I've been hearing from people like Tim Jordan about the possibility and not a bad idea to source products from places like Nepal.
Even the USA.
Pardon?
Even the USA.
Even the USA.
Even Australia.
So where do you find these places? I mean, Alibaba's got millions of them once you get onto there.
So the first thing that you've got to decide on is your product. If you haven't decided on your product, we're talking...
I'm looking.
We're talking in the air.
Oh, God.
But once you've decided on your product, India's a lot better in some types of products than what China is. I'll guarantee you that cushion cover is going to be a lot better quality coming from India than what it is in China. And you're probably going to get something so unique that nobody else has seen it.
But then also, people like Tim Jordan, I watched a lot of his stuff, he says that the logistics and infrastructure in India is not as advanced.
No, it isn't, and that essentially means that you're going to need to teach them. So when you're sending your labels to China, you're just sending your labels and they just go ahead with the job of applying them. In India, you're going to have to tell them, put the label here, not here.
So do you do it through an agent?
You do it, yeah, there are agents. Yeah, absolutely. Go into Megla's group and type in agent needed. And about 20 of them will...
So how do you find lists of...
That's not the point. The point is find your product first. And don't find your product based on what would I like to sell. Find your product based on keywords. USA is a very, very competitive market. Don't try and sell garlic presses. So people that just had a bit of a snicker already know that garlic presses have been on, it's the joke around Amazon sellers. They're so competitive that nobody
thought it was
should...
silicon kitchen.
Yeah, and that too. Don't touch it. But bear in mind, in China, Mr. Trump has applied some amazing tariffs. So if you're comparing apples to apples, you might find that you're not going to pay that much more in India for the same product because you're not going to have those tariffs applied. Whatever that tariff is, anywhere between 10 and 25%, 40% and with all the rest of the customs. So it ends up being like 1.5 times the cost of the product if it's coming from China. So if you find the same product in India for 1.5 times that Chinese price, you might actually be breaking even. But if you buy it from the USA, you're not paying any tariffs. You're not paying any customs.
Well, how do
you're
you
not
find
paying
suppliers
anything.
in the US?
Google trade fairs, just like everybody else. Google trade fairs, absolutely, absolutely. There's a lot of places, but even Alibaba is not Chinese. No, wrong. Alibaba is Chinese, but it's not just full of Chinese suppliers. There are Australian suppliers on Alibaba. And you probably won't get anything for the same price from an Australian supplier on Alibaba, but you can still find Australian suppliers on Alibaba.
And one of the reasons why ASM and others do recommend you buy from Alibaba is because Alibaba do have their trade assurance. So what we help thousands of people do is make payments to Alibaba Trade Assurance. It basically works as an escrow. You're sending it to Alibaba's suppliers account. So you go from your account here in Australia, you found an order, you have an order ID, Alibaba will give you their bank account details. We pay for your order to Alibaba Trade Assurance, and then Alibaba makes the payment for you. They ship the product out. If you have any issues with the product, you go to Alibaba sorts it out, and that's until you find a trusted supplier, you just go via Alibaba Trade Assurance.
As a first Thai seller, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's
Through
an
Alibaba.
easy way.
Don't they have like bigger like MOQs than like Alibaba's the bigger one than what's that other similar one?
AliExpress?
Yeah, AliExpress.
Yeah.
AliExpress is retail.
Yeah, you can buy one item from AliExpress. I actually want AliExpress all the time. Yeah.
I actually started on AliExpress, so what I was doing was I was going into detail pages that were offering one product for $20, and I turn around and say to them, okay, what if I buy 50 off you? And then they drop the price, not quite to what if I was going to buy 1,000, but that was my way of testing the product.
Yeah.
I
And I have had a lot of my customers say, don't be shy to chat with them on. You found a product on AliExpress. Don't be shy to scared to chat with them, and maybe take them offline, and maybe you can buy one product. Once you establish that relationship, you can add them on Skype, and then test it out. You can get them to recommend this, but if you're paying for one product, you can pay by PayPal, send them $20.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's a safe
They
way to pay.
send it out.
Easy, fast.
Once you establish that relationship, maybe you don't need to go by Alibaba Trade Assurance. You have that trust there. You speak to them on the phone, via Skype. You see them face to face via the net.
If you're paying $50, you don't really care, but at the same time, PayPal will cover you for $50 as as a buyer, etc. So, yeah.
Okay, we'll just close off with one sentence, one question, quick response, okay? Your best bit of advice you can give somebody on going forward from here.
We already did that, didn't we?
Just do it.
Just a one-liner. We have one bit of advice for everyone in the room. Great, I'll start with you.
Alright, mine's easy. Just do it.
Nice and easy.
If you're not sure, ask.
Be safe and do it.
Okay, guys, I think that concludes the evening. It's starting formal stuff. I'd certainly like to thank the ladies up here. I'd like to thank Janine from UL, thank Kelly, Big Kelly, fantastic World of Wealth. I'd like to thank Farida, World First. I'd like to thank Ben in the back there for Content Creative. He's kept us all in the loop. There's a wealth of information is out there. You've just heard a really, really good cut of it. I would encourage you to go explore, check these guys' websites out, check Amazon Sellers Australia. If you've got these questions, that's the sort of forum to take it there. I learn stuff every day on it. Again, as I said, we're involved in the industry, but there's tons of stuff you learn. Kelly, you'll be putting stuff up on Facebook.
Absolutely. So Ben's been wonderful. He's pretty much taken photos of everybody and everything. There's video footage there. Whenever it's ready, it's going to start going up, and it's going to look really professional for the first time. But yeah, in the meantime, anybody that's got any shots or anything, please go into the group and put them up there and tag us and what have you. So, guys, get into the group.
You all does have an offer also, actually.
Sorry?
You all have an offer.
Yes, please.
If your product falls into the consumer and retail division within where Australia fits in, which is the Asia, basically, the testing is conducted within Asia, you get 30% off your testing. So that's not just one product, it's any of your products as long as it falls in. So if it needs to get tested in the US and portion that falls out of that, any of your toys, any of your hard goods, so if you're doing dustpans, aprons, pretty much 80% of the products will fall into that division. But it's really important.
If you've got a product now that you're thinking about, give her a call tomorrow, find out if it needs testing, if it does.
Yep, so all Australian Amazon sellers, but it doesn't have to be Amazon. I'm going to stretch it a little bit, but just make sure when
she's a girl.
You go through it.
Okay. Thanks a million, everyone. Thank you for watching. Moving slightly, we've got a couple of drinks left over.